If you're struggling with your golf game at the moment and your swing feels off, I want you to take a good look at what your hips are doing. I can almost guarantee you're not getting your hips deep enough in the golf swing, and that's why you're struggling. Let me explain. As you make your backswing, where most golfers go wrong is they don't get this trail hip deep enough away from the golf ball, so this direction here. And if you don't get it deep enough, it can cause a flow-on effect for the rest of your golf swing. Now, for the lead hip, same thing. As you start your downswing, that lead hip doesn't get deep enough this way away from the golf ball. So why would you need to get hip depth? Why is it so important? Well, for starters, when you get more hip depth, it enables you to rotate better on the backswing. Extremely important. If you don't rotate enough, you'll end up using a lot more hands and arms to swing through on the downswing. So we need that depth to get a better backswing coil, better rotation there. Now, as we start our downswing, if we haven't got enough depth, quite often we'll stand up and we'll minimize that space or close that space between us and the golf ball, which means we'll stand the club up, a lot of flippy action, and that will reduce your ability to hit consistent strikes on the golf ball. So we need that depth as we go back, and we need depth on the way down with that lead hip. So we've got space, this space here helps us shallow the golf club better, space to shallow, and also it helps you sequence the golf swing much better through the impact. So if you get that depth, have a look from face on, and get a better turn here, we get more space. And because it enables us to rotate better, we can use our lower body to really rotate through past impact. Now, I spoke about how getting those deep hips improves your sequence. So let me explain. If you're someone that slides in your downswing, your hips go too much laterally this way towards the target, that is because you're not getting your hips deep enough in the downswing and in the backswing for that matter. So what getting those hips deeper will do, it will encourage you to rotate better in that downswing, improving your sequencing and right through to an impact position. So it'll look like this. We'll get deep here, but importantly in this downswing, if you get the depth in that lead hip, you won't slide those hips as much and you'll be able to swing through to a better finish. So towards the camera, so instead of going like this, now we need a little bit of lateral shift, and that's covered in other videos, but you don't want too much where it's like this, and then that throws off that sequencing. So if you can get depth here, and then rotate through to a full finish, that's going to improve your sequencing, which will improve your overall golf swing. When you load your hips properly in the golf swing, what that does is it engages our glutes. Now, when you engage your glutes, that helps you again with that ability to rotate and hold your posture better in the whole golf swing. When you can hold your posture better, you can shallow it better, can stay a lot more balanced, and enables you to swing through with a lot more power. So loading up those hips gets these glutes engaged. Now, if you've never thought about getting your hips deeper in the golf swing, there's a good chance you've never engaged your glutes. So if you try this exercise with me, we'll just put that club down for a moment. If you were to just turn back a lot more than usual, you should feel a stretch right around this area here. That's engaging your glutes. Something you probably heard the pros talk about before. So from face on, I'm engaging my rear glute there. On the downswing, I'm engaging this glute here. I can feel a tight stretch around this area here. When you engage your glutes, you're going to use your hips better and you're going to be using the ground better. You've no doubt heard of using the ground for power. The only way to use the ground for power is by getting those hips deeper on the way back and on the way through. Now, if you're doing this for the first time, this will feel really awkward, and that's a good thing, because if it feels awkward or uncomfortable, it means you're doing something right. Because what most golfers do, you might be able to relate to this, as they turn back, nothing's engaged here, hips aren't deep, glutes aren't engaged, and then what happens on the downswing, you're all upper body, just swinging your hands, your arms, Yeah, you'll have a few good rounds, hit a few good shots here and there, but you'll never truly get the most power and consistency out of your golf game because you're not using the ground, not really utilizing this ground forces, what they're supposed to be designed for. So get yourself deep on the way back and deep on the way through. You're going to start hitting the golf ball a lot more consistently. So if you get those hips deep, what you're going to do is you're going to stay in posture better, which means that ratio, or that distance I should say, from my chest to the golf ball, that shouldn't change a heck of a lot from here to here. Most golfers who struggle, again, this might be something you can relate to if you've seen your swing on video, they generally stand taller here, or they might get depth here, but then they get taller here, they get further from the golf ball. Once you're further away from the golf ball, you're in a lot of trouble. That's where you have to use your hands and arms to really time up the golf swing. So we need to stay in posture from there to there. You've probably heard of the terms getting lag and better shoulder rotation in your swing. Like for example, lag in your golf swing, which is this angle here between my arm here and the shaft. That is a byproduct of using your lower body correctly. So if you can use the lower body better by getting depth, you'll naturally get better lag, which will result in more power and consistency. You probably remember a video of Tiger Woods, I think it was about a year or two ago, and he was practicing. I don't even think he had a club in his hand, but he was practicing like this. He was making his back swings like this, and his downswing, he was doing this. He was getting really low to the ground, really pushing out his butt, pushing his hips back deep. And he was just rehearsing this, getting extremely deep. And what he was doing, he was getting those hips deep, but engaging those glutes and making sure he stayed in posture. Now, you'd never swing like that. You'd never really swing like this, get this low to the ground. But when you exaggerate a feel, you've got a better chance of, when you make your real golf swing, of keeping those hips deep, staying in posture, shallowing the club. You're going to create lag and just become a lot more consistent overall. So I want you to practice this without a club first of all. You're just going to get in a golf posture and you're going to be pushing that hip back here in your backswing and then pushing the lead hip back in your downswing. I'll show you this from a few different angles. So we're getting depth here. We're getting depth here, feeling a stretch in our glutes. They're extremely important. Making sure you get that depth and that depth again. Don't need to be hitting balls, but obviously you want to work up to that at some stage. Put a club in your hand. I'm just going to make really easy swings and just focus on getting that depth. Don't even have to make a full swing. Depth there, and through. You can hit a few shots. I'm not too concerned how you hit the golf ball. That's not important. You're probably not going to hit them any good anyway because you're building a new movement pattern into your swing. So it's going to feel a bit strange, but that's okay. So I'll just hit a couple here, but I'm going to do it nice and easy. I'm not too worried about the strike. I'm more worried about how those hips are moving. So I'm going to do it extra slow. I'm just going to get a bit of depth here, and then through. Do it nice and slow. And through. Wasn't a fantastic strike, but that doesn't matter. I really felt like those hips were getting plenty of depth on both sides through that swing. And you'll need to do at least 10, 20 repetitions a day, feeling those glutes getting engaged. And I promise you, you'll find you'll start hitting the ball more consistently. You'll be more balanced in your golf swing. It'll feel a lot more effortless, which is what we all want. So let's do another one. Just going to feel like I'm getting that depth and that depth again there. This works for every club in the bag, by the way. Driver, your hybrids, your irons, every club in the bag. So let's do another one. Going to get a bit of depth. That was a better strike. Got that one fairly solid, but again, not worried about the contact when you start doing this. I'm worried about you getting the depth. And as a byproduct of that depth, you're just going to improve your ball striking right across the board. So important video I want you to watch coming up. Now this talks about how to stop standing up in your downswing. So this will go into a bit more depth on what I've covered here, how you can stay in posture better. Instead of doing this, it's going to teach you how to do this, which is what we've covered here, but I'll go into a bit more detail and it's going to help you out even more. So I'll see you on that video. It's coming up.